The years leading up to and during menopause are a rite of passage. The wise woman inside of us is calling to slow down, to take stock, to speak our truth, to burn away all that no longer serves us, ready for our next cycle of life. The good news is, with the support, community, connection, and most of all, sharing our stories and being truly seen and heard, we will travel through this powerful, sometimes painful, heroine's journey and out the other side. Welcome to the Menopause Podcast, real and raw stories of midlife and mental health. I'm your host, Kylie Patchett, menopause self-care coach and storyteller, and I am so glad you found us. Let's get on with the show. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the very last episode for season 2 of the podcast. I didn't even tell our guests that before we started recording. Hello, beautiful Sherold Barr. How are you?
Oh, Kylie, it is so fun to be here with you on Thanksgiving Day. Of course, this won't be the day that this comes out, but yeah.
So cool. We have not spoken in person. Well, no, I'm not sure when we've spoken in person, but the last podcast we recorded for my old show, The League of Luminary Ladies, geez, that's a tongue twister. We just worked out was in 2015. So welcome back.
It's been a minute.
It's been a minute,
as they say.
Now, yeah, I know you inside and out, but please introduce your beautiful self to our listeners. This is going to be such a good way of putting a little bow on season 2. Can't wait.
Well, good. My name is Sherold Barr, and I am a United States entrepreneur. And I met Kylie maybe 10 years ago, something something like that. Anyway, and I'm just really loved her personality. And so anyway, I have had 2 successful online businesses. I started, and I want you to hear this, my first business when I was 47 years old.
Yeah.
And this was way back. We're talking 1996, 98. When I got a first contract. I was in high-tech healthcare, and no one taught me how to do a business. No, I just, actually my ex-husband was an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I did it slowly and had this dream because I had left my PR job at a hospital. And in the 4th year, got a contract with the PR agency that worked with Microsoft. And then that business grew because I got some of their partners, software partners. And I had this depth, this niche that was like very narrow.
But deep as.
Not very many people that know that. So that was business number 1. And then when my brother was killed after, that was in 2005, I was supposed to go get a graduate degree in positive organizational development and change.
I'd forgotten that.
And, funny how the universe, anyway, he was killed and I couldn't keep my business. You had to be full-time in your business.
Yeah.
And then fly 7 weeks of the year. So I heard about Martha Beck. I knew I wanted to coach and work with people, and became a coach, became a master coach, then hustled my way, into making 6 figures, because that's what we were all doing back there.
Yeah, weren't we? I was just having this conversation.
Yes. We were just burning ourselves to a crisp.
And it was like hustle is like you put the badge on, like, I am part of the hustle team.
That was a big
God, awful.
Learn to hustle. We are really learning not to hustle anymore. Anyway, that didn't last. So anyway, I then, 2017 was in Baja, Mexico, and I had been working independently, location independent. That's what I would say. I was down in Loreto, and we would go for a month every year, and I could coach from there. It was challenging, always the technology, but then I was in a near fatal car wreck. That's in 2017, and we were in the middle of the desert, and we had been whale watching, which was my favorite thing in the world because it's as close as at the time, not now, but at the time I had come to oneness.
Yeah.
To feel like I was in the place of my true self, communicating with these beautiful mother gray whales with baseball-sized eyes that I have picture after picture after picture where they're staring.
Yeah.
And whales have self-awareness, all the baleen whales, and have spindle cells, and they have huge brains. So humans don't really know the extent of their cognitive self, but those mothers and that babies and I'm writing a memoir is really I've become aware of this at the end of this manuscript, that this what that means in my life with my mother, and rejecting the feminine on my Shero's journey. It's the way I call it, and I've heard you talk about it, but there's been a lot of dragons on mine.
Wow.
And you've just got to be a warrior. This is the way it is. And I came out of this accident, 6 surgeries, 6 major abdominal surgeries, 2 in Mexico, airlifted to the US and had 3 there, and was in the hospital for 5.5 weeks. And I had a near-death experience. And this was, worth everything in my book, because it gave me a clue that we are all searching for. And I was in my 3rd surgery, we figured out, somewhere in there, and I was between worlds, and it was dark, and telepathically I heard a voice from my left side, right under my, just there. And it said, you get to choose how you go through this experience. What will you choose? And I immediately thought, and I was conscious to think this, I said, I don't want to be a victim. So I'll choose the high road, and I'll use love and gratitude to heal. And that's what I did. And I came out of that experience. I'd been on ventilators for 7 days. So it was a while before I came back out. Could understand, but I was in ICU because I asked the manager if she'd bring me patient satisfaction forms. I used to be a hospital PR person, spokesperson.
Of all the things.
Oh my God.
That's hilarious.
And so I, at night, when I could focus, in between surgeries, I was conscious and stuff. So when I could, I'd write, funny things like Catherine is the queen of catheter. She's the best catheter person, because I had to constantly be cathetered. So, and then I wondered, this is so interesting, Kylie, because I wondered, do they notice something's happened? Can they tell? Because I knew something, but I didn't know it was a near-death experience. I didn't know what this was.
Wow.
I knew this voice, and I already knew my decision, but I wondered. And towards the end, I had a pulmonologist that kept coming into my room, and my doctor's real name, the trauma surgeon, is Dr. Kill. That is real.
Would you not have got that changed by deed poll?
Now listen to this. We were with Dr. Angel in Baja, and then we flew to the US, and I had Dr.
my Lord.
It's really fascinating how there's a lot of humor, I think, somewhere out there.
Some dark humor in there somewhere.
But it just, I had another one, a CNA that came when I knew I could go home, and she said, I know you have to go, but I don't want you to go. So, I could tell that my energy, and even Dr. Kill at the end began to want to ask me questions, because he didn't have time before, but in the end, he was more curious. And then we went back a year later. My husband thought it would be a good idea, and I didn't at first, and then we did. And we saw all these people that took care of me. They recognized him, but not me. And Dr. Kill said that I was one of this many in his whole career that was a patient like I was, that accepted where I was, that had to reel my husband back in, who is a retired emergency physician
I
who
was just about to say that.
suffered PTSD the entire time because he goes
probably
to
knew
worst
too
case.
much.
He knew too much. Yeah, medical
Yeah.
do, and they suffer extremely a lot from that.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it was really this whole thing, this notion of free will. And this is, as Viktor Frankl said, Edith Egger, you can go on and on. This choice that we have is our last true freedom on earth. And so, I've been through murder with my younger brother. I've been through my son almost dying and having to have some, pretty severe big medical stuff. And he's almost 12 years out now from his rare genetic disease. I'm a grandma, so that's a miracle. But I've seen that trauma for me has woken me up. And awakening is not a static place. It comes and goes. Oh my gosh, it just does not stay. Now, I was in that.
Awakening is not a static place.
Static thing. Yeah, it's not a static place. I need to write that down.
Yeah, I need to write that down too. Far out.
It's not. It comes and goes. And
what
time I know you want me to say what's that look like?
Yeah, I'm curious as to, because you quite often hear people say, and then there was a fork in the road or a moment when I decided or whatever. And I always have felt that that's way too simplified.
Sounds it.
A description. So what came back in between the awakening?
The ego. The ego. What happened? So I was in that. In fact, I have several places where I'm tending to my husband, who's, they came in. I'll give you this example. And then I'll tell you, yes, it was bliss state for about 4 months. But once I started getting back into my business, and I was head injured. Yes. So I was really head injured from a concussion. And it was, everything was just harder. However, because if in hindsight, I wouldn't have pushed that ego-y stuff, but I had to do some things. I had to do some things with my assistant. But that brought me back. And then it just gets louder and louder the more we sort of default and listen to it, So, but in the near-death experience, and I write about it, I just wrote a blog and I'm putting this one up on YouTube.
Yeah.
We're all in these energetic states. And David Hawkins has written about the map of consciousness, and zero's death, thousands, the Buddha, 600 is where a near-death experience is. 200 is courage. So everything below 200 is a negative emotion, frustration, anger. By the way, shame, embarrassment. It's 23.
Yeah. It's heavy, hey?
Yeah. Guilt is one. And so what this means is the energy is dense. And so I talk about today, look at the planet. The energy is very dense.
Yeah.
And,
very much so.
So we have to, I guess, go to the dark, and then we see the light here. It'll come after this big change.
Yes.
So, but this state, it was like I was seeing right out of my eyeballs. Okay, this is a strange thing to imagine because we see out of our eyeballs anyway.
Yes.
But it was like I was that observer behind my eyes, just watching. There was nothing. There was no, oh, look at him, or oh, look what he's doing today, or that noise bothers me. There was nothing. There's pure peace. There's nothing. The Dr. Kill comes in. I can remember the orange bedspread, and my bed looked a little longer because I'm looking at this. John is down in front of me at this part of the room, and Dr. Kill comes in and says she needs a 5th surgery. And I smile and I'm, perfect. And then he leaves, and John starts crying. And I said, why are you crying? He said, you're suffering. I'm not suffering. You're suffering.
Yeah.
And then he burst into tears. And he comes here and by my bed, and I'm telling him everything's going to be okay. It's just a really interesting experience. So that is the true self. That
It
is
sounds a hell of a
true
lot,
self.
yeah, more peaceful than the way that we live.
It's love. I get chills even into my head. They're talking about it, but it's love, peace. There's nothing. There's no negative of anything. And that is the place where we're the spark of the divine. That's where we go after we leave this body off back in to that field. And so that's why, the more we can try, that's what I do. And I talk today about gratitude, because gratitude is what I use to heal.
Yeah.
And it was not anything I was like egoically attached to. You have to understand, because there's none of that there. So it was all love. And that's what I was passing out through the hospital for 6 weeks, almost, was paying attention. I was a good listener. Ask, and I knew about someone who had a stillborn baby and a nurse, grief, and I would tend to them as they tended to me. It was just gets tears in my eyes. So it was just the most beautiful experience, and I feel like the reason I came back was to help people understand the importance of their mindset when they're in the hospital, the expertise, having been in healthcare, lived with a doctor, understand the system to the everything. I understand stuff. And I feel like there's that, and I sure hope it comes across, in my memoir. And I hope it's done. My due date's that I have for myself is at the end, the eclipse in April 24.
I cannot wait to have that in my hands.
Well, I'm calling it the high road to healing. I've got that domain because that at the time I'll take the high road.
Yeah.
And the low road is everything we're experiencing in the US right now.
Yeah.
If anybody asks me, what is the low road? Look at the hate. Yeah. Look at all of the darkness.
Division. Yeah.
Deaths, you name it. And war in the world. This is why, because a lot of people are at these lower levels.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's just a whole nother thing. So how do we combat that? If we can understand that, that's a hard concept. Yes. Maybe it's deep. This is David Hawkins, and his map of consciousness is pretty far out there, but that's the world I live in, because it's so fascinating. And what I've learned is we are not alone. I have been afraid of death my entire life.
Have you?
My entire life. I was anxious as a child. Always anxious. Still, I have some anxiety.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I'm in internal family systems right now for trauma. I've done EMDR for about 5 years. I've done a decade of Jungian analysis. I've been a coach and gone through all of the trainings. And you just are where you are. And the traumas have just catapulted me. I think because I like to laugh and say I'm a little slow on the uptake. It's like, bam, you're flying down the wrong place. I mean, that's, and I feel like I was chasing money and things that I learned were an illusion. This sounds crazy, but I'll tell you the truth. What we're doing is we have those two worlds. We know the inner world and the outer world. The outer world are these things outside of us. And we're all searching for our desire in the outer world. And it's an illusion, because we think if we get money, I felt better. When we get this, and I was chasing money because I thought I would be more, and I'm married to a doctor.
Yes.
You have to understand, I have my own issues with working. That's in the book. What my dad told me, it was a belief. Don't depend on anyone. You have to take care of yourself. Here I am, through thick and thin, take care of myself, stay independent. So I learned none of that mattered. I remember waking up and going, no more certifications for me.
No.
And I lacked 100 hours in Barr and Katie's Institute.
Yeah.
I'd done 700 hours. And I just saw how that was my insecurity.
Just
Needed.
false.
Well, that's what we all do because we feel like, I'm not really a coach. I'm a fraud. I'm a
Oh,
this
100%.
100%, all of us. And so it's been a really beautiful experience. So the more we have a deep, rich inner life, the better.
Yeah.
That's, quiet inside. Quiet inside is when you hear yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Quieter you get, and the best place to get quiet is out in nature.
Yeah.
Just go out in nature, sit with the trees, forest bathe, and that's my cathedral out there. It's my church.
Yeah. That's one thing that's stuck in my head. I heard that you'd had the accident, obviously way down the track, because it was when you were on social media. So it must have been months and months post the event. And it felt to me like a heartbeat later, I saw you back on the trails near your home, with your puppies, and you had a stick, like a walking stick with you and everything. But I was just like, geez, Louise, talk about mindset of just getting back to it. Because I think I have certainly grown up with, like, I love my dad completely, wholly. And he also had a lot of that working hard, security, all that sort of. And I was actually just talking about this with my psychologist actually yesterday. I was like, the one thing I feel like I've shed so many skins this year, the one thing that is still like the growth edge for me is continuing to feel like I have to work hard for anything to matter. So I overcomplicate and I work more hours and I blah, blah, blah. And it's actually right in front of me. Oops, just threw my pen on the floor, sorry. She asked me, how good am I going to allow this to get?
I was thinking about this today. We don't give permission to ourselves, and we don't give credence to our dreams.
Yes, this is what I was. Yeah, and living inside of limitations of old belief systems, like the money is where the whatever, the satisfaction or the safety or the whatever is going to be.
Security,
we're cutting ourselves off from all of the much more rich, more deep, more true awareness inside of ourselves, because I feel like I've spent many decades distracting myself, chasing on the outside, because part of me was scared of what I'd find on the inside because of trauma, but also scared of how amazing my life could be if I allowed it to be. And that sounds so ridiculous. I'm very aware that logically that has but that's honestly how I've felt. And yeah, so her question for me was, how good are you going to allow this to get? And I was like, wow.
I wonder if your father, because I taught money beliefs for another chunk of that time.
Yes, you did, yeah.
How your father, because there's a lot of things that impact a family let's just, for example, the father says, people like us. Yes. So if there's anything like identifying,
lots of that,
can't make that. People like us, because that is in the subconscious. Just like this belief that my father, I had no knowledge of this, but I was trying to find the belief. I couldn't find it. It found me. Bam! Amazing. Because I would go to my women's group and say, I'm just driven. I knew always I worried about retiring, because I'm not I have so many interests and passions.
Yes.
That's a weird notion to me, but people, that's a big deal. So, but I always thought, how could I do that? I don't think I'm going to be one that's going to be able to do it. So I think that there's a saying, climbing up the wrong ladder.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. And we get up to the top of the ladder and go, oh shit, nothing's up here.
No.
I've
done that so many times in my life.
Well, that's how we learn, I think.
Yeah. Well, I particularly, I need to do things and break things to know what I do and don't want. Like, I literally have realized that about myself, is not break things as in deliberately, but try things on for size, like actually physically do something to be able to know whether I want it or not. Like I have to be in my body experiencing it rather than thinking about it.
That's kinesiology.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's fascinating.
Yeah.
I am, and I think this is the other thing I want to say to every woman listening. That more, like Kylie's talking right now about, she knows herself now because these experiences have taught us good and bad. There's always good too. Don't let me follow about that. Always.
Yeah.
But that's how we learn, and we all learn differently. And I'm activator on Strength Finder, and so that's how I learn. I learn by taking action.
Yes, exactly. I don't know what I am on Strength Finder. I've just been into human design a little bit, and I'm a 3/5, and the 3 is the experimenter. And so one of the stories I've had about myself, I've talked about it on the podcast before, is like I never stick to anything long enough to kind of really become a master at it. But that's actually the way I'm designed. Like the experimenter is meant to be like smorgasbording life, like, oh, a little bit of this. No, don't like the taste of that. Okay, next thing, that kind of sampler thing. And so I have a breadth of experience rather than a depth of experience. Like, you know, I've had so many different careers. My kids love saying to people, my mum used to cut up dead people, and then she did this, and then she did, like, because, you know, I've had like probably 17.
Fascinating. Well, that's why you're an experimenter. And you know what? I love that you're still here doing it. I'm a 4 to 6 projector.
Oh, that makes sense. So 4
I'm a role model.
Yes.
Role model opportunist.
Yep. And the 4 is about connections and community, and like your wealth is in wealth as in richness in life, as your connections and the people that you meet, and how you make people feel, which is very.
And I'm a woo back on Strength Finders, which I just heard the other day, 16% of people are. Marie Forleo is when others, and you know, talk about now at my age wanting to use my strengths to hit it out of the park is combining those two. And that's why I think in PR, pitching the media, I did so well. I've developed relationships.
Yes. See?
You know, and it was just fabulous. And so, you know, if you can understand at least your strengths out there, and maybe, you know, I didn't quite get that for a long time. So like I said, I'm slow. It takes me a while to integrate. But
it takes me decades, Sherold. Decades.
But I do want to share with your audience that I'm 71.
I know. And I love, one of the deepest joys of this podcast has been getting to connect and reconnect, in your case, to women that are, because, you know, the podcast this season was meant to be about the menopause transition. And what I've actually noticed is the wisdom, the deep wisdom, like that's time lived, right? Like you don't get it when you're in a 20-year-old body, or maybe you do, maybe if you've gone through the eye of a needle in whatever situation, but most of us, it's time lived. And I have always, I think because my dad was 55 when I was born, so I've always been around older people. I always think I just want to sit at the feet of this person who's lived longer than me and learn from them, because there's so much depth. And what I was feeling into, like I went to the gym just before we started this morning, and I thought, Sherold had a near-death experience. I wonder what that simplifies in life, because I imagine when you've made a choice, but also, was there any part of that experience where you were like, I'm not done yet. I don't like what do I, like you said before, you feel like you came back to be able to sort of spread this word.
Right.
Did you have any sense of like, I'd actually want to go down the tunnel to the, you know, oneness?
I didn't consciously. And on the other side of it, I will say that it's a feeling that is wow, if I could create it again here on earth, I would through meditation. But I also don't want to, every time I've asked to be awakened, I was doing that before the year before this car wreck. Don't ask that because it's not easy. It's
Hang on
like
a minute.
asking for it to go through hell.
This is like my friends and I have this joke. Years ago, Danielle Laporte had that beautiful book about the desire map, and you picked your word for the year and blah, blah, blah. I don't do that anymore for exactly why you just said, because I pick a word and what I mean with the word or the intention is this.
Yeah.
And I get the word, but I get it in the way that I actually need to get it, which sometimes I don't want. So what's a good example?
Do you still do that?
No, God, no. No.
Oh God, and you know what I ask for now? Just bring me what I need to be happy.
Yeah.
Or bring someone else what they need to be happy.
Yeah.
I'll say, ask, show me what to do or open doors for me. And I do a lot of asking.
Yeah.
But boy, do I never ask that again. Just so don't ask.
No.
I read Oprah asked to be successful one year, and then the meat industry sued her. It was one of the worst years she'd ever had. Yeah, the meat industry.
Yeah, be careful what you wish for. Hey, gorgeous. We interrupt this gold for a delicious invitation. If your whole body has been whispering more lately, more voice, more truth, more satisfaction, more clients of the soulmate variety, more cash, more you, then this invitation is for you. Potent. My sister mind is officially open. This is my high touch, holy fuck, I'm ready sister mind for rebels in good girl clothing who are done outsourcing their power and diluting their magic to fit into someone else's business formula. If you have been craving a space where your strategy, your voice, and your energy all get to be offered, honored, refined, and amplified, this is it. Inside of Potent, you'll get my eyes on your business every single week, copy mentoring, and that is for brand copy and content storytelling that turns your truth into client catnip, energetic recalibration that helps you unhook old, learned limitation patterns, keeping you quiet, not being seen, not being heard, real-time, high-touch, one-on-one coaching that actually sees the bigness of your vision, and the kind of sisterhood that does not flinch when you show up in your full, messy, brilliant, phoenix rising from the ashes glory. This isn't surface level support. It's deep, potent, paradigm shifting work that changes who you are as a woman in business and a woman in life. We start in August. Early open access is open right now. For the month of June 2025, inside of this early access open doors period, you will receive juicy bonuses, extended payment plans, and access immediately to my entire library of storytelling gold. You'll find all the juicy details at kyliepatchett.com/potent. And we fill spaces, and there's only 10 of them, and more than likely only 5 by the time you listen to this, because by that time I will have offered them to the existing cohort, the beautiful original OG circle. We do actually take applications on a first come, first served basis. So come and apply, and let's get back to the magic of the episode.
So then she just says, use me.
Yeah, that's been my, even at, this time of the year, my natural kind of forward thinking self goes, what will next year be like? And I feel like my key intention is just allow me to be useful. I just want to be useful. And that's such a strange word, I guess, but that's how I feel. Like I want to live simply without complication, and I want to do work that allows me to meet amazing people and do something useful. That's it. Like I really, the older I get, the more simple it becomes in my mind. Like I don't, and going back to that hustle culture, like I think back, I've only been back in business this time for a year, and I have been so conscious not to recreate that churn and burn. Because I did that for 6 years.
When you say you're going to go on a vacation and stuff, I mean, we need to be real. This is not, we're not trying to look one way and live another way. I mean, that's just not the way. So I love when you're honest about that. And
I'm interested when you said before about having the near death experience and having that awareness of you get to choose.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever look back at the accident and have one of those hypothetical, like, I wonder where I would be now if I hadn't come to that point and made that choice? Do you ever think about that?
I guess what I would tell you right now, I would be unhappy doing what I was doing. I know that for a fact because it wasn't really my passion. My passion was kind of diving deeper into spirituality, I think. But even before, because I'd had not a near death, but I had an amazing experience. Do you want me to tell you about that one?
Yeah.
I have one son, and at the time he was 28, and he can't. And again, I don't know what Baja has to do with my life, but it's not a real good place. Anyway, I was in Baja, same place where we've been. And I get a call, and he said, "Mom, I ended up in the ER, and I'm swollen from the waist down."
Oh,
and I'm seeing I think it was a kidney doctor, which was like got our attention, and we couldn't fly out. You only can fly out certain days, whatever. Yeah. So it worked out okay. But he that week when we got back, they I can't really say what happened because to protect his privacy.
Yes,
he had a medical major medical surgical procedure so he could live. And so in that April, and talk about I was in Byron Katie's, people know what Byron Katie's Institute is. It sounds so simple, but we use inquiry to find what is really true for us because our brain lies 100% of the time. All the time.
And do not believe your own press, people.
It's not. And so I had done, I was in her hardest class. And this was my last class. And then all I lacked was the helpline. I could just do that 100 hours.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hours. And then I'm done. And I would have had a badge that I'm certified.
Yeah.
So I did this. I asked this woman from South Africa if she would facilitate me. This was my second time on the same belief. He will die. And it just, because first time somebody else did it for me and I went through it, I could tell it took a lot of emotion away, but it was still, the fear was still in there. Yeah. And so the second time that she did it, I had this, oh my God, it was an image. I'm sitting on a bench and then my mother identity is sitting next to me, kicking and screaming, he's going to die. And I am at pure peace, sitting right next and seeing this. And then I thought,
story.
If I can mother myself, if he dies, I turned it around and figured I could mother myself, I could mother the earth, and I would mother other young people. And I could have a life because that identity is so powerful. It tells us we can't live if a kid dies. Life's over. It's gone. So he didn't die, thankfully. And he's 12 years out and I'm a grandma, which is a miracle. And the miracles come all over the place when you begin to get into some of this realm. It just, they just are there. That's all I can say is surrendering. My experience is surrendering has led me to miracles. And I mean, by looking up at a lamp before operation and saying, And I did this every single time without it being aware of it. It was just my way.
Yeah.
I'm in your hands, because I was so scared.
Yeah.
I'm in your hands. I can't do a thing. I cannot do, and this is what we all fight, is control and resistance, and we can't accept things. And the near-death experience helped me get there quick. But it's just, you just kind of get. So what I want to say is, I went in that place for about 4 months, and then it slowly can go away. But each time I've had a trauma, it's like, sounds terrible, but now I just think, well, let's see what else. If something shows up, let's just see what else is going to happen.
And
Oh, well.
I guess it makes
And I'm not
the
afraid.
clarity even clearer every time,
Yeah.
right? It's like
Yeah.
my ego comes back and the new awareness dilutes, and then something else happens and I'm back into that focus of
Right
this
there.
is
And see, I
actually
think it
truth.
goes faster each time. And it is a fabulous experience. And it's almost like, how do I say it? Your reality's just changed.
Mm.
You're different, same situations, but you can see. A lot of times I'll just say, I used to say, what is the motivation for us doing whatever it is we're doing? If it's a relationship thing, do we want to feel good about it ourselves?
Yeah.
Or do we get mad at each other?
Mm-hmm.
It's a end result. Anyway, I don't know if I'm getting off topic.
No,
but,
no, not at all, because you're just reminding me of so many different conversations I've had very recently about exactly the same sort of stuff. I'm watching my now young adult daughters, go into their first sort of longer term, more serious relationships. And I'm watching the dynamics of, when you're new to relationship and you still, or certainly one of my daughters, lucky she never listens to the podcast because she would know exactly who I'm talking about. But she's very much like a younger version of me, where I needed to be right, because being right was being in control, and being in control, or the semblance, perception of being in control, gave me a false sense of security. So that was always me. And now I'm just like, I don't actually care. I'd rather be happy than be right. It doesn't matter. And even more than that, my right is not the same as your right anyway. So me arguing for my point of view is such a flawed waste of energy. I mean, when it matters, yes, I will absolutely. But I'm just watching how, our younger selves, I think it's because the ego is so strong. Like, we're still individuating. We're still figuring out who we are and how the world works. And now, older and older, I'm just like, I just don't care about so much. Like, I really just doesn't bother me one way or the other.
I know.
When you said before you've always been scared of death, how do you feel about it now?
Well, I am not afraid, because I feel now, there's days I walk around. I had really tough anxiety, I think, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
There's just days I have it, and I was tapping away.
Yep.
So to get rid of it. And that's probably a fear of a future that I've somewhere got in my psyche when I'm doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not afraid now, because I truly believe that I'm not a religious person. I kind of left religion, but believe in God, and have my own version of a deep faith that I've found through these. I trust that my experience this last time, I don't remember being in a lot of pain, except having to be cathetered and that kind of thing, because I think my suffering had a purpose, if that makes sense. Does it make sense? You see what I'm saying? I had a purpose because I felt like I had the near-death experience, and I was shocked. I came back and kept having these surgeries, like it was like I was going to the dentist.
Yeah. Another day, another surgery.
And then I had 7 outpatient procedures when I came home. So it was 4 months of just like, I'd recover for a week and I'd go to another one. So my suffering wasn't, you never heard me. I don't think I complained once.
Mm.
That was me because of this near death experience. I was in such a great spot and fascinated by watching everything around me all the time that I was in a fine spot until I think then I couldn't walk. And then I think also that shifted things for me at 5 months. I think that's where it just went. This was like a dark night of the soul.
Mm. Because the reality is all of a sudden, wow, I actually am limited in my independence, I guess, and mobility. And
well, I would look up and go, what are you doing? I mean, okay, what is the purpose of this? I wouldn't be doing
I have gotten to my what the heck stage.
I mean, somebody said to me, boy, you must have had some really bad karma you're working out in this lifetime. And because you only work karma learned from this lifetime to the next one. That used to make me, that I would feel embarrassed. In fact, I asked my writing group last week, is this too much? Because there's 3 major traumas in this book.
No.
But I had spiritual awakenings after each one, and I'll take you with me. And they said, no, we need to understand this. This is, that made me feel good because it's almost like that question that women have, am I too much? Will I be too much if I get what I want?
So 100%. I actually uncovered some funny kind of thing that we've touched on both of those things in this conversation. But part of that overcomplicating for me, like part of it is very much my dad's voice. And you're right, before he was born in a depression, so everything was about seeking security through having your own property, making sure you had an income, all of those things.
That's it. That his voice is in there. And so I'd honestly be fun to work with you sometime if you ever wanted to
sign me up.
Well, no.
Because I'm ready to crack it.
I tell you what, let's just do it. I'll interview you and put it on my site. And then
amazing.
And listen, let's go find it.
Because
it's there and it's going to drive you until you can uncover it. And when you uncover it, it just sort of, Katie always says the work works you.
Yeah.
Because the mind, I love all her old sayings, that mind doesn't like to see itself on paper.
Mm-hmm.
So we hold the mind to task and we're going to make it realize your proof and your evidence for the truth. And then it can't think that thought again. I mean, it can, but you're like, get out of here.
You've disproved it. Yeah. Do you know the other thing that I realized, and it comes back to what you just said about being too much, part of my complicating things for myself, I realized yesterday as I was chatting with my psychologist, is about a lot of messaging that I got as a kid about don't be too bright, too enthusiastic, too passionate, too bubbly, too warm, too welcoming.
Poppy.
Keep your freaking well, my first business was called the Tall Poppy Project for that very reason.
I remember that. I remember that. I loved it.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from.
Yeah. And they go hand in hand. It's like, if I create money through not working hard and doing things that are easy, I'm almost disrespecting my dad. That's one half of it. And then the other half is if you shine your light and kind of stand up from the crowd in a way that's very natural for you, because I've always felt like I have to, just put the lid on that, then you'll make other people like not feel bad, but it's at the expense of someone else. Because I was always taught, don't shine, and those two things, I'm like, holy crap, how can you be almost 50 years old and still someone else's voice is living in your head and you've got this, don't stick your head above the clouds.
Here I was not able to stop working. I mean, I want to work. It's not that. I'm still coaching.
Yeah. I
have to word of mouth clients that I work with while I'm doing all of this.
Yeah.
But it's a, how would I say it? It is a software that you are run by.
Yep.
What it is. And one thing I would say to start doing to release stuff until you and I work together.
Until I get my hands on you.
We could do it next week if you have time.
That's good.
Send me your link and we'll schedule.
Yeah.
I think the thing is, before you go to sleep, talk to your subconscious. So all of you women out there. And the most important thing I've ever done, and you mentioned this a minute ago when you were saying, I think I saw you on a trail, not long after you were in the wreck. Yeah. Okay, so one of the things I'm talking about right now is visualization. Be yourself as this person you want to be, and you work to unburden yourself, as we say in the counseling IFS, internal family system. But oh my God, I lost my train of thought.
So good.
So, you unburden yourself. Oh, and you talk to your subconscious and you say, like what I did in the hospital. This is when I had 8 tubes. I was hooked up, coming out of different places. And I love hiking so much and camping.
Yes,
and
I know.
I saw myself on hiking to the Rosaries. There's 3 little lakes on the Pacific Crest Trail. And let me just think about this. 18 months later, I hiked 7 miles. 7 miles.
That's just
learning to walk twice. And it's amazing. And I fractured my sacrum. I had all kinds of stuff that happened in that. But that's the miracle of visualization, because where the mind goes, the body is going to follow. And this is what I did in the hospital. I want to share this. Do we have a few minutes before?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, keep going.
Yes. And you and I talked about it in the beginning about the body's innocent.
I was just about to say, this was one thing that I wanted to really, really hone in on.
So when I came home, I had bandages. So couldn't really, I had home care nurse and others would change it and stuff, but I just was never without a bandage so I could see myself. And then I noticed I had this little pooch over on my left hip. Long story short, I had blunt force seatbelt trauma. There was no shoulder harnesses in this van that flipped. And it tore the muscle off my left hip bone. So I have a flank hernia, which cannot really be repaired because you use mesh, and that doesn't work. Well, I have nothing to hold the mesh to. So my acupuncturist named her Gladys. And so this is Gladys, and she's, basically you really wouldn't know. She's here. And I know the best shapewear ladies ask me. I have tried.
Gladys wear.
Yes, we're talking just slimming, stuff like this, because that's what I have to use. And then a postnatal wrap. So, but first time I saw myself in my huge bathroom mirror, I was fascinated because I'm still in this state, not of.
You're observing.
Yeah. And I saw this faint S curve it was like a modern S, and it was gorgeous. And I actually this is terrible, but somewhere I took photos. I think I deleted them, but I took photos because I wanted to paint me, my scar.
You're
some real vibrant colors. Yeah, it was just, and it, what? It was not ugly to me because this is the price I paid to survive.
Yeah.
These are my warrior scars.
S for survival.
So, and because I went through this experience, and I have done so much work with Katie, the body is innocent. I just want to say this. It is the mind that will say, oh, look at this cellulite. That is the mind attacking the body. In the hospital, I would, and when I got home, I would put lotion on that leg that, I couldn't walk. And I would say, I love my leg. My leg's getting stronger every day in every way, every day. And a month I could move it like that much. So there's so much wisdom around our bodies and our bodies being innocent. And it is our critic that makes us hate the very vehicle that we're in this lifetime. And evidently, it's a rare thing to be here on Earth, according to angels and everybody else. I mean, it's supposed to be a big deal to be here. So we might as well make this.
I feel like we've come full circle, because you talked earlier in our conversation about John saying to you, "You're suffering," and you said, "No, I'm not suffering, you're suffering." And the suffering that we go through is more often than not the voices in our mind that are saying that what's happening, or what our reality is, or what our body is like, or whatever, is what's wrong. And that is what creates the suffering.
Yeah. And we're believing it. So our ego we're believing our ego. And the more we believe it, the stronger it is. And so that means you won't, it's harder to hear. So the way to start cultivating that is to be in quiet. Some people can't sit with themselves.
I've been avoiding meditating like a crazy person at the moment.
Me too. And I've got it this week. I've been doing calm again, just instead of chanting and Kundalini, I've just been.
I'm avoiding it like it's like a superpower. And when this lady yesterday said, "How good are you allowed to actually?" And that I realize it's like when I meditate, I feel delicious. And that is actually really triggering for me at the moment. And I'm like, oh my God, increase your capacity for feeling at peace.
Yeah, that's it. That is it. And feeling, one thing I also want to say is that I have learned resilience is a muscle. And each time we use it, it gets stronger. Longer and stronger. If you keep that in mind. And you say, because then you can say, I can handle anything. I know I can at this state because I've handled the worst unimaginable. Yeah. And if I've done that, I can do, don't bring me any place.
No, we are not asking for more. Thank you very much.
Asking.
No.
It's a feeling that I want to strip down and teach about resilience, about mindsets. There's 5 pieces, and everything I teach is from what I've learned and the stuff I knew before. But it's just, we're very resilient. We just need to pay attention to when we do hard things.
Yeah.
And say, good job. You handled it.
Yeah. I feel one of my big lessons for this year, with the whole dance of the self that wants or seeks control and the self that seeks freedom, which I've always felt are two completely, going back to parts work, like two parts at odds with each other. I've actually come to realize that the only true safety or any semblance of control, and it's still not real control, is self-trust. Exactly what you just said, that no matter what comes my way, I will deal with it and I will adapt, and I'm flexible and I can figure things out and all of those things. And once you get that locked away in your cells, all of a sudden it makes making decisions a lot easier. That's been my experience this year. It's just like, how do I actually want to feel? And yes, my ego wants to tell me, like this time last year when I left my corporate job, holy moly, my fear brain was going to town on me. You're going to lose your house. You're going to, extreme. And I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, this is ridiculous. I actually have a really beautiful friend who
I think it was your dad's voice. That was your dad.
Well, yes. Yes, it was.
Well, he would be the one that's dad. Okay.
Anyway. I have a beautiful friend who always listens to the podcast. So hello, Jody. I know you're listening. She'll be walking somewhere. She lives in Melbourne and she walks everywhere. So she's a podcast devourer. But she was listening to a podcast, and I can't remember which one she said, but she said, if you doubt yourself, why not also doubt your self-doubt? And I'm like,
wow.
Whoa.
That's big.
Isn't
You
it?
write that down and do one of those Instagram things. That is really good. And you know what? I didn't realize that I didn't trust myself until I started this writing. I've been taking a writing program for 3.5 years from LA Writers Labs.
Yeah.
And a lot. And he's my mentor, and he just nailed me. Boom, you don't trust yourself. It's like, wow. And when you write about yourself, oh, is it hard? I think this is the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
The accent was, this is harder.
This is harder.
So, yeah, it's harder.
Sharing your truth is a big thing, isn't it? Yeah, when I work with people writing their books, so I do a lot of copywriting these days. So you wouldn't know that, yeah. And that is,
I love that.
It's surprising to me that when I'm working with, well, it's not really surprising, but it did surprise me that a lot of the sessions that I do with clients that are co-writing sessions, so they're bringing bits and we're kind of molding them into chapters or whatever, is actually coaching still. So I never thought that I would go back to one-on-one coaching, but it's coaching through the fear and the terror of sharing your message and your story with the world, being seen for us women, like really seen.
That is, I think, being seen and finding our voice. And I know in my marriage, that's part of the book. The conflicts. And I just didn't know that really what that meant until I witnessed. Again, I came home with a different reality. I had started saying something important, and my husband would turn and walk out of the room. I never saw it. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Sherold, I am hearing you loud and clear. But also, when those awarenesses come, is one of the natural questions that we need to answer ourselves is, where am I ignoring myself? Because if we're allowing other people to make us unimportant, guess what? We're doing it first.
We're doing it first, always. And it would be just giving myself away and in people pleasing, you can see how it's just so we're enculturated by this.
Sacrificing. Yeah. Sacrificing and martyring. That's been a big thing that I've shared this year. Yeah. No more.
So
I have immensely enjoyed reconnecting with you. We could talk for ages, but you need to go and have Thanksgiving with your beautiful family.
And thank you so much. And excuse me, I cannot wait. So we're actually committing that we're going to do a coaching session.
Have your way with me
on family legacy here.
Because I am done. And I'm like,
yes,
here you go.
Because my family came from depression. So all of the things everybody's parents said are in there.
Yep.
How they did it, everything. So we'll show it works.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
My goodness.
This has been such a delight. Thank you all.
Thank you. And I'm going to link to where you are in the online space, but also let us know when your book comes out, because we'll do another interview. And
oh, I would love that. I would love that.
I can't wait to read it, Sherold. I can
advance because I'll tell you, because I would love to have you read it first, and then
my soul is wagging its tail.
Thank you so much, and bless you for doing this.
Thank you. What a brilliant way to wrap up.
I just mean that in a really beautiful way, because everything you do creates a ripple effect of light that is needed on the planet. And so for all your listeners, if you're afraid to get out there, please don't be afraid now. We need to.
We need to. Yeah.
All hands on, all girls, women, deck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
More than ever.
I'm going to send you some links and things. So
yes, please do.
Again.
Okay. Thank you so much. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Hey there, beautiful. Just a little note from me to you to say thank you so much for being part of the podcast audience across this last season. I feel like we've traveled a lot of distance since I started, I think back in April of 2023. I feel like my mind is already in 2024, but it's 2023. So back in April, as I shared in our first episode of this season, I was really struggling with my mental health, and Yeah, wondering what the heck I needed to do to just help myself be more calm and more centered and more grounded. And here we are in November, just 7 short months later, and life feels very different for me. I've had to really face the truth about some of my self-sabotage cycles and the way that I was treating myself health-wise, and really prioritized not only my physical health and the way that I'm feeding myself and moving, but also my mental and spiritual health. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on the journey. We will be taking a short break over the Christmas period and into the new year. We'll be back around about mid-January 2024. In the meantime, I will be pulling out of the archives some of my personal favorite episodes. I hope you enjoy them. And from me to you, have an absolutely beautiful, spacious, relaxing, restful, silly season. And please know that it's perfectly okay if you do not want to get carried away with the busyness or the family drama or the overspending or whatever this season might bring up for you. And if, like me, you sometimes find that returning to family of origin can be a little bit tricky, just go gently. Go gently, friends, and give yourself what you actually need. So here's to a beautiful end of 2023. I will speak with you in 2024. Got so many very cool guests coming your way. And I know you would have just absolutely enjoyed that chat with Sherold. She's one of the most inspiring women that I know, and particularly inspiring women who are shining their light and their truth in their 60s and 70s and beyond. Here's to knowing them, and here's to becoming one of those beautiful souls. Goodbye, my friend. Thanks so much for listening into today's episode. If you love the show, as I hope you do, please take the time to subscribe on your favorite pod listening platform and rate and review. And for bonus points, if you have a friend or someone who popped to mind as you were listening to this episode, why not hit the share link wherever you're listening and send them a little love bomb. Like, listen to this. Did you know this is normal? I really would love to get these beautiful stories into the hearts and ears and minds of so many more midlife mavens. And your help spreading the love is truly appreciated. Thank you so much. I'm Kylie Patchett, your host, and have a spectacular day.